Hey, what's up guys, Rip here. So today we're going to be going over some very interesting topics regarding the gaming industry, beginning with this headline from Insider Gaming saying Arrowhead Studios CCO speaks out against forcing DEI into games. Now it's amazing how this benign statement is such a shocking one to see in the year 2025 because a lot of people in the gaming industry are terrified of making any statement that criticizes DEI or wokeness. Now, who are we talking about here? Well, we're talking about Pilestead, the CCO at Arrowhead and Helldivers 2 creative director. Now, what did he actually say? Well, here is the interaction where he makes the quote, where he's talking about plans for 2025, and a user says, "Never add DEI to your games," where he says, "If it doesn't add to the game experience, it detracts, and games should be a pure pursuit of amazing moments," where the user says, "How would DEI have benefited Helldivers 2, where he says, "I don't like labels, but mankind is united in its extreme xenophobia on Super Earth, #inclusion, so maybe that's DEI. I really don't care. Make good games. Don't make a contemporary political statement." Now that, again, is a very agreeable thing, a very agreeable set of quotes here where he's saying if DEI doesn't help the game, it shouldn't be in the game. And on top of that, the focus should be on making good games and not making political statements that are going to drive away people from the game and ruin the experience for a lot of people. And this would cause some very mixed reactions, as you might guess. Okay, a lot of people who are anti-woke are celebrating this, saying this is a good step in the right direction, where we're seeing successful people like this criticizing DEI in gaming. And then you have the other side, the usual suspects, the woke people, the activists, who are absolutely seething about this right now because they perceive it as a win for the other side and they just can't handle it. And I'm seeing a lot of people in the replies making similar comments about Super Earth. They're like, "Did you even play your own game? Super Earth is satire." And I'm trying to find the correlation between his statements here and the concept of Super Earth in Helldivers 2. But anyways, what he's saying is very agreeable, and people don't seem to understand the difference between political themes in a game and the difference between that and a political message. Okay, Super Earth in the game and its related concepts, that is a political theme in the game. However, if someone from the team or someone in game made it clear that Super Earth is actually a representation of a world run by Trump supporters, and we're going to make fun of that, that's now a political statement, a contemporary political statement, and people don't seem to understand the difference. Now, overall, you can see a lot of people are happy about this criticism of DEI, but at the end of the day, it's still tiptoeing around issues. It's not using terms like woke or activism or anything like that, but they're all related and interchangeable in many different regards. And at least there's something here. It's a positive step towards a better future in the gaming industry, but it's just a step. There's a very, very long way to go, and this is just a stepping stone at this point. And also, with Arrowhead and Helldivers 2 and their related communities, actions speak better than words. And we've seen a lot of people at Arrowhead and in the Helldivers 2 community with some power who are people that are clearly activists. They're clearly woke in their political beliefs, and it shows. And that showed very clearly back earlier this year during the whole PSN drama that somehow didn't completely derail the success of this game. We saw people from their community, whether it's community managers or moderators, taking it out on people who disagree with them politically and also just generally when it comes to issues involving gaming. Here's an example of that. So here's one of their community managers here, this Catherine Baskin, she, her, someone who very clearly is woke. I think it's very obvious by tweets like this. They're very divisive, and I would never recommend someone who's a community manager for a game like this to come out on Twitter and make this a public issue. They said back in March, "Plus Helldivers is pretty woke, dog. Game was made by a lot of LGBTQ and brown people and black people and women, and it's a big satire of jingoism. It amuses me. They don't know that Super Earth is bad. It also explains a lot about the world at present. That's where we're starting to see the parallel here, starting to cross over into a political statement instead of just a political theme in the game. And that's because this person is trying to espout their political beliefs in this reply because they're mad about people criticizing Helldivers. It's not a very good look. And this person also set a very weird standard here where someone asked if people are getting banned because of LGBT themes getting criticized. And she clarifies, no, we only ban the bigots, transphobes, homophobes, racists, etc. They are not welcome in our community. We had to restrict the topics in the Helldivers 2 general chats for a while because it was triggering massive waves of hate speech, which our staff was struggling with emotionally. Now, this is very interesting because she sets up multiple standards. And this whole concept of we're only banning bigots, this mirrors what we see on Twitter all the time from woke people. They say, what I do is always acceptable. I am justified in threatening, harassing, censoring, and many other bad things directed towards people they disagree with because those aren't just regular people. They're bigots. So I'm now morally justified to basically treat them any way I want now. And we see that justification all the time. The issue with that is that they create the terms. They create whatever a bigot is in their mind, which justifies all this mistreatment. And to a lot of people, it's very clear that a bigot is simply someone who disagrees with them. And that is what justifies such abhorrent behavior that we see all the time with these activists. And she also sets up a standard that clearly says, if you get banned in our community, if you get punished in any sort of a way, it's because you are a bigot. And that's not the truth, because people were getting banned and punished in the server for reasons that had nothing to do with bigotry. Here's an example involving Mark Kern. You can like Mark Kern, you can not like Mark Kern, that's fine. But what happened to him back in May of this year was clearly a lot of activism and people being punished for having a different opinion. We had this mod named Purple Squid Gion, right? He, they, and they were a moderator. At the time, they were a senior moderator. And they made this statement in the Discord server saying, describing Mark Kern as someone who SA'd many people he worked with, lost his position as CEO, is now a far-right influencer who had people attack more than one or two of our CMs and their families. So besides the blatant slander in the statement, it's clear they just don't like anyone who has his sort of ideology, and they call him far right, which, by the way, he is self-admittedly someone who is left of the center, so that's very weird. And they also said this, anyone here who is a Grums fan, please out yourself so I can help you out the door. So again, that's bigotry. You're saying people got banned only because they're bigots or because they disagree with you in some sort of a way or support someone who disagrees with you. That's very clearly not the case. They're being a hypocrite. We even saw more ridiculous situations like this, where one moderator went out of their way to say this. This is your reminder that if you want to vomit react furry art or be a jerk about furry art, that you are lining up for a 24-hour timeout by me with a little smiley face. And then they say, this is also a reminder that if you try to reply to me in here, you can't because there's no typing in here. Everyone reacting to my post with a clown emoji is also lining up for a timeout smiley face. Keep going. You're making my life easy. And of course, someone vomit reacted to that. But yeah, this is the type of stuff we saw in their community with some of their moderators and managers. And it's just a bad look. And it contradicts that statement that only bigots are being punished. Again, just very interesting to see. So really, in summation here, a lot of people are getting a little bit of hope from this statement, but at the end of the day, it's just a small step, and there's a long way to go with this, and actions speak louder than words, especially when it comes to Arrowhead and the Helldivers 2 community. Now, it's kind of ironic that we talked about this. That kind of broke out this morning. I actually planned on talking about Helldivers 2 in a way because of this article as well, and we'll read it right here. So it says, PlayStation to continue focusing on live service games. And in a recent interview with the Japanese outlet Famitsu, PlayStation co-CEO Herman Holst said that the company still believes in the model despite recent hiccups like Concord. Now, a lot of people are looking at this and saying Sony will never learn. They'll never learn from their mistakes. They're going to invite themselves to another Concord situation. And the live service style is a very interesting conversation. And Sony is the most interesting one to talk about when it comes to live service because they've proven they can do it and they've proven they can fail at it epically. On the one hand, you have Helldivers 2, very, very successful. On the other hand, you have Concord, one of the biggest failures in gaming history. And a lot of people, because of games like Concord, they have a negative connotation attached to live service. If they see a game as a live service game, they already have some apprehension. And I think that's very understandable given some of the flops that have been live service games, like Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is another example. But overall, I think the apprehension for live service games is very fair, but I think a lot of people, they associate live service games with the games that flopped. And that's what they're remembering the most was the quality of the game. Yes, the fact that Concord, for example, was a live service game did not help it. But overall, it failed because it was a DEI fiesta, basically. It was filled with a lot of stuff people didn't like. And it just wasn't a very enjoyable experience. That's why it failed. That's why Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League failed. It just wasn't a very good game. People have proven time and time again that they'll overlook the live service function of a game if the game is actually good. And we saw that with Helldivers 2, and we've also seen a more recent example with Marvel Rivals. Marvel Rivals has been an incredible success, live service game. People are really enjoying it, and it's delivering a very simple concept, a game that looks appealing with its character designs, and it's just a somewhat fun game. That's all it really takes nowadays to have an explosion of success. I mean, clearly it's having great retention of players and it's doing really well. And that's all despite the fact it's a live service game. People will overlook it if the game is actually enjoyable. And in this case, also a controversial one where you're seeing the game censoring people with classic Chinese censorship. I want to show this Asmongold clip because it's absolutely insane. It appears that we're getting a classic round of Chinese censorship with this game, and certain buzzwords are not allowed.
You know what I also heard? I heard that you can't say free Taiwan or free Hong Kong in Marvel Rivals. Now, you guys know what I always say. Trust but verify. I'm gonna log in, I'm gonna check it right now. Okay, testing. This is me. Free?
Should have just expected that.
Taiwan sucks. Free Taiwan. It contains inappropriate language. Wow. Okay.
Winnie the Pooh's not gonna like that one. Nope.
Free Tibet.
Interesting.
Taiwan #1.
It's so complex too. Didn't happen.
That's a nope. Tiananmen Square massacre. It didn't happen. You're not allowed to lie in this video game. Try 1989. Okay. This is gonna be fine.
Come on.
You can.
That's insane. Like that's next level Chinese censorship right there. But my point is, people overlook a lot if the game is actually good. People forgive things like this or overlook things like this, and they'll overlook the fact that it's a live service game. It's not that live service games are just doomed as a concept. It's just the fact that a lot of them haven't done well because the games itself are bad. And on top of the issues with the game, it's also just happens to be live service and people have a negative connotation with it. But when we're talking live service games, there's another conversation to be had here because Sony is giving it another crack. And one of those titles is Fair Games. If you haven't seen anything involving this game, well, lucky you. This is going to be a flop. I very rarely will say this. I don't like saying this unless I truly believe it. This game is going to flop. There is absolutely no hope for this game. So you can see the description. Welcome to Fair Games. Your chance to rob the rich and rebalance the scales. Take it till you make it. Yeah, it's giving definitely the energy of like, eat the rich, rob the rich. How do you do, fellow kids? Well, the reaction to this game, the preview, the reveal trailer, you can see it's not doing great. 4,000 likes versus 52,000 dislikes. This was clowned on. Everything about this just screams modern audience. You have the flashy, over-the-top colors, the diverse cast, the edgy themes. It's all just modern audience, and it's going to be slop, and it's going to fail, and people just see through this garbage. In fact, the comment section is a riot. These are just the top comments, in quotes, from the trailer. You want to know about us? No. 5,000 likes. Eat the rich, said BlackRock, the multinational investment management corporation. Eat the rich, everyone, said the giant corporation. Also, please buy our overpriced Battle Pass and MTX. Eat the rich, $800 console without disk drive by default. Yeah, clearly people are not vibing with the Eat the Rich, the game here, Fair Games, and it's getting absolutely trashed. It's even getting trashed by journalists like Paul Tassi. You know Paul Tassi? He's one of the people who have defended games like Veilguard. He tried to tout the quote-unquote successful launch on day one, trying to post some images of the results, claiming it was surging past expectations and proved a lot of people wrong, which of course aged horribly. But even he's making articles like this saying, Concord, Suicide Squad, fair games, and vibes-based failures, which I think is a pretty interesting term, vibes-based failures, which I think is accurate for a lot of games. You're just not passing the vibe check. Concord didn't do that, right? There's just something off. It's unappealing, and that's pretty much it. People don't want to even give it a chance, right? But you can see Paul Tassi here calling Fair Games a failure before it even has come out yet, which is a pretty crazy thing to see a journalist, and especially someone like Paul Tassi, come out and say. But a lot of people look at this, they look at the comments that we looked at earlier, and they're seeing a glimmer of hope, a spark maybe, that people are starting to wake up a little bit, and they're starting to realize what gamers value, and that they should start catering towards that instead of the slop that's been taking place the last couple of years. But anyways, that's going to do it for this video. A lot of interesting topics today, so feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.